and we are back. We are live. This is Monday, September 21st, 7:13 p.m., and I'm your host, Lance Wilson, the Real Sports Fan Podcast, Season 3, Episode 32, and have a very special guest with me tonight, a brother that I haven't known a long time, but I'm sure he'll say the same thing, that I felt like I've known him, though, for years and years. And I've got with me none other than some might know him as Mister, some might know him as Minister, some might know him as Coach. But we have Nick Purnell with us tonight on the Real Sports Fan Podcast. Nick, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me, Lance. Been looking forward to this all day, brother.
Man, I tell you, man, I'm excited. I'm glad to have you. I'm glad for this connection to take place. And like you said, we're here. We're here. This is what we call the South Takeover. We had, as me and Nick was saying, we had Bubby Brown. Shout out to Bub. Had him here last week. We got Nick on tonight. Then we got Todd Northam next week. And what we've kind of done these 3 weeks is, I was telling Bub, which I didn't even honestly plan it this way, all 3 of these gentlemen are state champs. Yeah. All of them are state champs. So it couldn't have worked out any better, and we just come to show some love to the South Bay side. And Nick, another reason I had you on here, man, is like I was telling Bub, one thing I try to do, especially with all the times we're living in, is really to give you your flowers while you can still smell them. Man. So it's almost like an appreciation podcast just for you to share things, whether it's things in the past, things you got going on now, things coming up, and really just to shed light on a lot of the people you've impacted and the things you've done, man. So again, I just want to salute you, man, and I really appreciate you, being on here tonight.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that so much, man. I've been checking out your shows every now and then. I really got into that one last week. It was good to hear Coach Bubby talk about some of those old games. And like I told you, Bub is a human VCR. So all you got to tell him the game. He gonna tell you who the key players were. He gonna give you the play-by-play, what happened at this particular moment.
Everything.
Man, you got a memory like that, man. I thought I had a decent memory, but couldn't. Like,
Me too. Shout out to Bub. He'll tell you the box score and everything, man.
Yeah, and I was sitting back just enjoying it because I remember a few of those games he talked about. I relived them because I remember going to watch some of those games. So man, it was your last week was off the chain, and I'm quite sure
I appreciate it.
But as we're giving flowers, man, look, thank you for what you're doing, man. And I know it's not easy. I know it takes a commitment, and I know you said this is episode 32. And
as
we living in, man, you could have gave up after episode 11. But man, look, man, it's a great thing you're doing, and I just want to encourage you, keep doing what you're doing, brother. It's needed. I know you got some people that's watching and they're looking forward to it, just like it's a TV show. So, man, I'm honored and just humbled that you would call me to be one of these people on your podcast, man. I'm grateful.
Man, I appreciate it, Nick. I really do. And you're right, man. Encouraging words like you just gave and, different messages I get periodically, you're right. It does, keep you going. And in a sense, it is a ministry to me. Like I've been telling people, I told somebody, I said, y'all might look at sports podcasts and go by it or not say I don't got to look at it, but it's always something inspirational or something you can get out of every person that comes on here that shares, and it's no different, from you. And for everybody that's watching, if you don't know, you can check out the podcast either live on Facebook or on YouTube. You can go right to my page, Real Sports Fan Podcast, subscribe. There's a lot more episodes on there. So we've had 2 other seasons. We're trying to get some more of that content up there, but a lot of episodes on there, especially from this season. And Nick, man, me and you, I don't know if you even know this before I let you go. I first met you at Elder Drummond's birthday service. You probably don't remember. It was a couple of years ago at his birthday service, and I want to say, I'm trying to think who
the preacher was.
I think who the preacher. Yeah, I'm trying to think who the preacher. That's who it was. Yeah, because it sure was. It sure was because I remember we had to sit up on the pulpit because it was so packed. That's how many people came up. Yeah, and that was the first time. And then from there, I showed Nick the shirt I got. This was from the Level Up Conference, men's conference. that he normally has every year. We just talked about, obviously, with COVID, not this year, but next year, men out there, I'm telling you, this is an awesome thing that they're doing. I mean, it's very powerful, very inspirational. You're gonna leave out of there better than what you came in.
Yes.
So it was awesome what you guys are doing. And I know, like you said, COVID put a damper on things this year, but that's where we met, and well, not met, but started talking more. And then not knowing that you knew Donio and Dwayne Cephas and guys from East, and then knowing that y'all play against each other and hearing a story, like, man, that's a small world. Like, so yeah, man, it's awesome. So again, I appreciate you being on here, and we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. I ain't gonna hold anybody's patience, but first and foremost, Nick, for anybody that might not know you or maybe new to the show, first just tell a little bit about yourself as far as where you were born and raised, and just about growing up a little bit on the Eastern Shore.
Man, I was born and raised here in Snow Hill back in '72. I'm a graduate of Snow Hill High School, class of 1990. Just grew up in the area, grew up here in Snow Hill, been here all my life. I work in social work. I work with agency called Go Getters. Of course, everybody probably knows it. I've been with them now for a few, and I just, like I said, I've been here all my life, man. I got one brother, got a wife, 2 kids, a grandson, and I'm just a big-time sports lover. I'm just, sports have been my life. Sports have been my glue. In particular, basketball has really been the glue to me, and it's pretty much about me and my life, and been through some ups and downs. Haven't always been the perfect cat. Just like anybody else, I'm not afraid to admit it. Done some wrong things in my life, but I'm thank God that He has forgave me and restored me, and that He has matured me to a place to where I am now. I know that I wouldn't be where I am without Him. So that's just a little bit about me. So I'm just a guy who's grateful and humble just to be here. Just celebrated a birthday last week, and happy birthday, yeah.
Man, with all this COVID going on, man, I'm just grateful to be here. Just grateful to see another.
For sure.
Don't know what's gonna happen.
You got that right.
I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful to be just one grateful brother, man, to be here. So that's about me.
Man, that's good. That's good. And I like what you said too. It's one thing I always tell believers and non-believers as far as transparency. I tell people all the time, I'm far from perfect. And been through some things, done a lot of things that if God didn't know Himself, I wouldn't want nobody to know. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I always try to give that testimony, to people as well. Because like I said, we know different than nobody else. And like you said, man, just being able to be here and see another day, man, with everything going on, it's a blessing, man. It really is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it really is. So I know you're a sports lover, and I know you definitely talk about basketball being that main sport that you fell in love with. Is there a person while you were growing up that put the ball in your hand, or was there somebody that you looked up to that played ball, whether it be professionally or in the Snow Hill area?
My cousin, Kevin Purnell. I looked up to him a lot, man. He graduated of 1985 of Snow Hill. Actually, everybody, Lance, on my father's side of the family, 90% of us play ball. So all of us are cousins.
Not to cut you off, but that Purnell name is strong. I was like, I know a lot of it's strong in that area, man.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Like on my father's side of the family, it was like Kevin was the first one. Then he had a twin. He had a brother and a sister who were twins, Kim and Corey. They played. Then after them came, we had another cousin named Mark. He didn't play much, but then me. Then after me was my brother Dorian. Then after my brother Dorian was my cousins Jonathan and Myron. So all of us.
Oh wow!
And the key, Lance, is all of us played the point guard position, which is
wow.
all of us played the point. So you can imagine when we get together, we're talking basketball from a point guard standpoint.
Ooh, floor general.
All of us, we talk the game from a coach's eye, from the point guard standpoint. So that's what we all did. So really my genes, not one person, like all of us pushed each other to put the ball in each other's hand. We would just, our family is real close, and we just kind of pushed each other, and we all wanted to be like Kevin. Kevin was the first 1,000-point scorer at Snow Hill High School. And Lance, this is the lie, man. Without the 3-point line, that dude had 1,384 points.
God.
If you
could you imagine that with the line?
That's without the 3-point line. And let me tell you something, Lance. This is no lie. You can ask anybody. The shots that he were taking were beyond the 3. So if there was a 3-point line, he would easily have 2,000 points. Easily. So yeah, we all just fed off of Kevin's energy, and he was mainly, he got the ball rolling. Of course, my father, he was a coach, but when he coached, he didn't coach high school basketball. He coached men's leagues, which were big back in the day. So
they were.
I remember going to games with him and practices with him, and he would let me play. So it was, he was the one, our family was the one who put the ball in each other's hands. So we've been kind of feeding off each other. So that's where we got it from.
I like that. So being that, I know you said Kevin, right, was the kind of the barometer, was there a certain age or a certain point where you realized that you were good enough to play, start in high school and take it a little further,
Well, I just went with the flow, because I know we're going to get into the career in a minute. What a lot of people don't know, man, is my 9th grade year, I got cut on the JV. I got cut. So that was kind of my motivation to come back the following year. And when I came back my sophomore year, that's when Alan Miller was the JV coach. And I remember Miller was the JV coach my freshman year. He was the JV coach my sophomore year. And I remember him coming to me, saying to me, he said, "Nick, you're going to be my point guard of the future." And I couldn't grasp it right then. But at the end of my JV season, I caught it because he was then announced the varsity coach for the next year. So that's what he meant by "you're my point guard of the future," that's where that came. So I just went along. I just went with the flow, and I was just grateful and humble enough to be the starting point, and for a great team at that time, my junior year, where we won the state. So it was, I just kind of went with the flow with it, and everything just started to just fall in place for my high school career.
Awesome, and I like, I know I'm talking to a humble man. I like how you said it. You just slid it in there. Well, we just won the states, like it wasn't no big deal. But that's a huge thing, because this is the thing. You guys just didn't win the state. You guys went undefeated in the '89 season. And I remember talking to even to Donnie and Dwayne a little bit about this anytime I catch Eric. I know, if I'm not mistaken, in '88 they beat y'all to get over there, and I know in '89 y'all ended up beating them, obviously being a better team, and y'all got across the bridge. Before we even get to the states, what do you remember just about some of the Snow Hill Eastern battles? Do you remember? I know you and Donnie are real good friends. Do you remember anything really about those battles?
Well, I only played Donnie my junior year. He was a year older than me. So
yeah.
In my sophomore year, I got pulled up in the playoffs when they beat us, but I didn't play.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So we didn't really see with the North and the South. We only see you guys.
one time.
Yeah. It's
So
not
we
like
now it just came back to me. My junior year, I remember now. We did end up playing Easton 3 times that year. One of them,
y'all did.
Was the Christmas John H. Coleman Christmas tournament. Then we played them the last game of the regular season of '89, and then we ended up playing them in the regional finals because they were 1A back then.
Yeah, they were 1A back then. Yeah,
finals at UMES, and man, that was a battle then. But so we didn't really play them a whole lot. But they were some battles when we played them. I mean, they was you know, they were.
Y'all was in each other. Y'all was in each other's way.
We was in each other's way, man. Yes, we were. We were in each other's way, man. We really were.
Yeah, that's great. That's great, man. So tell me about, you know, just going to that championship year. I always ask people this one question because obviously, you know, you was a ball player, I was a ball player, so obviously we know the game and the sport and the physical attributes that are needed. But I always want to ask people their mental. Like going to the '89 season, did you guys know you were that good to not only win the states but go undefeated while winning the states? Did you guys know before the season you gonna be that good?
Well, this is how we looked at it. This is how we approached it. That league, that season actually started in the summer. There was a outdoor summer league that was put on by Butch Waller. They did an outdoor summer league with 2 teams. And I never forget it. We went in. Of course, you couldn't use your name. We went in as Law's Lumber, which was a lumber company. So that we got everybody who we projected to be on that team, and we all that whole summer we traveled and played everywhere. With the base being in that summer league, because we knew that we were going to see most of those teams in the year to come. But we would go to 4th Street in Ocean City. We would go to Salisbury to Lake Street. We would go to Pocomoke to a place. They had some courts outside there. We would go to Berlin, Flower Street. We would just pack cars up and just travel and play. And that's when, after we got done with that summer, we had, of course, Alan Miller. He knew how to get around some things.
Yeah. Right.
So what happened was, Alan Miller had put together. Well, it was always we had a class called basketball skills. So, in basketball skills, some kind of way, Alan Miller had his projected team in that class first day of school. So we were actually and going over some stuff to get a heads up on everybody doing basketball skills. So doing basketball skills, it was like our practice, and it was our practices. We did drills, we did everything, and we knew right from then, man, we got a shot of doing something great. You know, we knew it. You know, and then when I never forget when the first game started, we played Cambridge. Cambridge had a player by the name of Tyrone Travis, and they were 2A. And I remember we said if we could measure up with these guys, we knew we had a chance. And we went on and we cruised through that. I mean, we're not cruising, but you know, there were some games that
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Then we had some games where it was tough, like of course Easton was tough. North Carolina, we didn't get a chance to tell, and I'm gonna tell you about North Carolina.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that Bayside game that canceled, right? We're gonna talk.
Tell you a story about them. But Easton was tough. Now I'm gonna tell you there was a sleeper team out there. Mardella. They were coached.
I seen that article with y'all.
They were coached by Ronnie Wainwright. They had Tony Johnson. They had Charlie Bird. They had. I mean, that team was. They were tough and gritty. And before we played Easton in that regional final, we met them in the regional semifinal. and both of these games played at UMS. And I'm telling you, man, we only beat Easton by 8. And man, I'm telling you, I mean, Andy Cray was another guy on that team. I'm looking at Donnie O. He said Andy Cray was another one. That team was a sleeper, but they could get it done.
Yeah.
And but man, we going through each game, man, I've never seen so many people come and pack the gym out to watch. I don't know if they just wanted to watch us play or to watch us lose. I don't know.
Either one, they was there though.
They were there, and I'm telling you, and I remember, and I see Donnie O's on here. I'm gonna bring back a memory for Donnie O. When Donnie O and them came to us the last game of the season, Donnie O and them bought a sign, and the sign said, at the time we were 21-0. Donnie O and them bought a sign in that said, "You're about to be 21-1 tonight."
No, did they? I love it though.
That was the sign they came. You know how you bust through the paper. That's the sign.
Right.
I'll never forget. I'll never forget. And we battled that night. I'm telling you, it was in Snow Hill. We battled that night, man. There was some good games.
Yeah. I bet, man.
To it. That was like that was our wave or our way of knowing that we can play with these guys, man. We could we can play with these guys. So yeah, it was good.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that too, though, and because I think somebody else had mentioned this too about the work that you put in the summer. Like you said, a lot of times with regulation and stuff, obviously there's ways to get around things, and later on, AAU came and stuff like that. But though I've heard that before, though, and I know Donnie posted on here as well. Those summer leagues that y'all went up against each other, I would assume that by the time it was so competitive that by the time the season comes, it's nothing. You know what I mean? Because you guys had already put the work in. Let's talk about it.
Lance, the summer leagues were our AAU. I mean, we would load up and we would just go play. All of us, that's how we got chemistry with one another, by putting the work in the summer. It wasn't, we didn't do a whole lot of weightlifting. We didn't do a whole lot of gym training. All we did was got the ball, we hooped.
Y'all hooped.
I remember and see, growing up here in Snow Hill, man, it was like, some guys from Berlin. I see Coach BJ Johnson on here. They would bring players down on Sunday afternoons, Lance. And we would get it in until dark. And you would look for the Sundays and Mondays. That's where it was, man. Summer basketball is nowhere near now like it was back then.
No, not even close. And I wouldn't even around it. Not even close.
No, I tell people all the time, I wish we had some type of tape to show people what it was like back then. Listen, man, everybody nowadays, we got the thing that said, I don't want to play outdoor ball. I don't want to play on the concrete.
Oh, man.
Man, listen, that's how we got it done. You know what I mean? You walk away with a couple scrapes and bruises, and you come back the next day and it's done. That was our AAU.
Yeah.
And Donnie O just said it on here. Man, if we had an AAU program from the shore back in the day,
man, y'all would have ran the whole. Y'all would have went to across a bridge or anywhere, and y'all would have tore it up, man. Y'all would have tore it up.
Listen, if I could just throw a couple names, and I want you to put this team together. Put this team together. Jerron Mills, Dondre Phoenix, Tyrone Travis, Jeff Chambers.
Yes, sir.
Foreman. Those are 5 right there.
Those 5 right there, yeah.
The AAU squad. Come on,
man. Come on.
Oh my God.
Man. Got everything you need. Size, scoring, point guard skills, everything. Yep.
And then listen, then you throw in a guy like a Wes Cornish who played for Easton. Then you throw in a forward like a Charlie Bird who played for Mardell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you throw in, oh my God, different. You throw in like Adrian Foreman or Darryl Purnell who played at the Crater. You throw names like that on one AAU squad, man.
That'd be crazy.
They'd have won nationals every year, and I ain't have to be on that team. I would have just traveled with them just to carry them on.
You say I just want to set them up, right?
Oh my God! Yes, indeed.
I feel you, man.
Names out there, Lord have mercy, man. Woo.
Man, yeah, that's some names.
You got me wanting to play ball from back in the day.
Roll it out, baby.
Woo,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So talk about the dominance and how dominant Sharon Mills was. You know, just talk about. You know, I read about, and obviously I know we're gonna get to the. You know, I know the All-Star game. I read about him and Jeff Chambers and Tyrone Travis and all that. But in the championship game, that the state championship game, that wasn't even close. This man had 47 points.
Yeah, I
think he had 16 rebounds. I might be a rebound or two off. Non-block shots. And this is the thing for everybody. He only missed 3 shots. He shot 19 for 22.
From the field, but he went 9 for 11.
From the field. Now, that's crazy. That's 73%. Field goal percentage.
There's a story behind that, man. First of all, Sharon Mills was just a humble giant. The dude
I've heard it. Yeah.
The dude was quiet. He didn't say a whole lot, but he let his play do his talking for him. And really, we didn't make Sharon look good. Sharon made us look good. You know, so you know, rest in peace to him, man. He made us.
Sure. Rest in peace to him.
I mean, he made us look good. And what people don't know, man, Sharon and I, we grew up 2 doors down from one another. So,
oh wow,
yeah. So I just wish I had his drive, because I can see it right now. We stayed behind a middle school, and I remember getting up on Saturday mornings, looking out the window. He's across the field playing on the court already at 7:30 in the morning.
Wow, really?
His game,
that's drive.
I'm like, man, when I look back at it, I wish I had his kind of drive. You know, so but he made all of us better. And that state championship game, man, Lance, everybody, when we got to the state championship, everybody in Snow Hill stayed at the same hotel we stayed at.
Yeah.
So when we beat Boonesboro that Saturday afternoon, it was one party.
Man, I know y'all. Man, it was crazy.
Everybody in the town of Snow Hill stayed in the same hotel we stayed in. So,
and that's a good time, man.
I remember it just like it was yesterday. We all were out just hanging out, and we went to Six's room, Sharon's room. Sharon was in the bed at 8:30, and Sharon told us, this is what he said, y'all, excuse my language, get y'all A in the bed. He said, man, because we got work to do. And he said, get y'all A in the bed, we got work to do. And a lot of us, we still stayed out and hung out. But Sharon was the most focused I've ever seen him in my life.
Wow.
I mean, 8:30, he's in the bed, chilling, while everybody else is out just enjoying the crowd.
Everybody else.
Snow Hill. So, I mean, and when he went out and when he came out, and when he hit his first couple of shots, it was like, it was on from there. It was, I mean, we played Milford Mill. Milford Mill had a guard, had a forward by the name of Chucky Moore, who wasn't half bad. But I mean, when Six went off, I mean, Six just, and see, the one thing about Six, he had range, but he didn't need it. You know, he played the 5, so we fed off of him in the 5. So he was one of a kind, man. He was one of a kind.
Yeah, I remember Donnie was the person I first heard about him, and then, you know, like I said, following you and just seeing different things and everything. Every article I popped, you know, I looked up and everything. You said the exact thing, that he was quiet, he was humble, and that he had drive. You know, it was one article I seen where he had got the McDonald's All-American nomination, and they was giving him something for that. And then they talked about, like you said, you know, what he did in the state championship game and all that. But just a humble guy, and the fact, like you said, he had range, but he still, you know, whatever the team needed, he did it, and he did it efficiently. You know, which everybody don't do.
Yes, sir. He did it with dominance. He did it with consistency. Of course, we all knew we got in trouble. We knew who to go to, and he had all of us on his shoulders. You know, if it's not for Sharon, we have trouble winning that state championship. Actually, we have trouble going undefeated. You know, from the way he played, the way he just carried us through.
Man, that's dominant. That's dominant. And I was reading about, I know you said you were going to touch on it. I was actually picking, Donnie was brain about it yesterday, but I read about, I read about that. I didn't know that you guys were supposed to play North Carolina in the Bayside game, but it got snowed out and there was some confusion over trying to get a reschedule, people not knowing. I guess it was supposed to be, it had to be February 25th for it to be rescheduled. What do you remember? What do you remember about that? Because from what Jeff Chambers said at the All-Star game, he really wanted to, you know, pretty much let people know that he was better than Sharon. That's you know. So what do you remember about that time?
What I remember was Bayside champ. Well, that whole season, you heard Jeff Chambers, and you heard Sharon Mills. You heard Jeff Chambers from the north, and then you heard Sharon Mills from the south. So again, and they were 1A with us. So everybody, and then as it started creeping closer, as you started to see the standings fall, it was like, okay, there's a possibility that we may see this Jeff Chambers Sharon Mills matchup. So as it got closer, and then when it got announced, we were just so hyped and ready to play Caroline because we wanted they wanted to show that Chambers was the man. We wanted to show that Six was the man. So it was a big snowstorm that day. And I remember just as clear as day, man, I kept calling the coach. I kept calling just to see, man, did they clear the roads off? Man, can we play something? Can we do something? So then the word came down that we couldn't have the game. So the extra twist of it was, okay, if North Carolina makes it to the finals and Snow Hill makes it to the finals, this game
they were try to play
and the state. So they played Milford Mill before us. Of course, we played Boonesboro. So we was waiting and we was pulling for Caroline to beat them because we just beat Boonesboro. We knew that. If we didn't have that game of confidence, we knew we were gonna beat Boonesboro. So
y'all blew them out.
When we got there, and I believe they came. I believe something happened. I think Caroline only lost by like 2 or 3, and so I hope. But here was the thing that I liked about Caroline. Caroline came to our locker room and shook our hands and wished us luck before. So
that's real.
Remember that just as clear as day. Jeff Chambers went to Sharon. I don't know what words was exchanged, but I think it was like, man, go out there and handle your business.
Go get it.
The whole team, because when you get to the state, as Bubby said last week, all of us are one. You know,
we're all together, man.
We're all together. Even though we're gonna play against each other, it's the short versus everybody.
For sure.
We always had a bad rap over here that we couldn't play, but yet we could play just as well as those across the bridge. So I remember Chambers and his team coming, shaking our hands, and we were like, man, we wanted y'all, but hey, man, you know, we had a great season. We still wanted y'all, you know, but it didn't happen. So then the All-Star game came, and I remember I wanted to go so bad last night. I had a bad cold, and I couldn't make it. So I remember watching the highlights. I think Six got a dunk on Chambers. I think Chambers came back, got a dunk on Six, and the place was crazy. I mean, I wish I was in that atmosphere, but man, that's what it was. And I mean, listen, man, you got the team from the North back in those times, man. I mean, listen, man, y'all could get it done. The North teams could get it done.
Some great teams. Some great teams. Yeah, great teams. And you made a good point. You made a good point on that too. And I want to elaborate on that as far as back then, because this is the key. Because a lot of times now, the North and the South will meet, but you can, and I'll say this because I'm from the North. You can see though how the South is that much better though. You know, you can see, you know, because as Easton, we've met up with them a lot now. Obviously, we had Ja Ringo. It was different.
Yeah.
Then he took them to 3 straight. But after that, you know, and even a little bit before, you kind of seen the difference. But like you said, back then, Eastern North Carolina in the late 80s, early 90s, they could compete better with the South. You know, all the time. So yeah, that's a great point. And going to that All-Star game, you're right that you had Jeff Chambers, you had Sharon Mills, and Tyrone Travis actually won a stole the show. I think he had he ended up with like 34-17. Yeah, 34-17 that game, and they were the 4th seed in 2A, and they ended up winning the states as well. Cambridge did, yeah, Cambridge did. So when I read all that, I was like, you know, and this is one of the reasons I like doing this, because if I was growing up and knew some of the history from Easton and from Snow Hill, from Waha, you know, I couldn't just find this stuff out. You know, I had to ask people I didn't know, but just finding this stuff out is it's awesome, man. And like you said, there's so much talent on the shore that the Western Shore, they don't think it's talent here. Other states, they don't think it is, but there's so much talent on the shore, man. It's awesome.
You take that year alone. The 1A champion was from the shore, and the 2A champion was from the shore.
On the shore, right there, right there. Yeah,
we won it.
Yeah,
and I really believe that year, even if Easton had beaten us, Easton would have beaten Boonesboro and Milford Mill.
Yeah. Either way, it was coming back to the shore. Either way,
it was coming back. It was coming back. It was coming back to the shore one way or another. You know, I keep saying it, and I don't like to toot the brother's horn, but I know later you asked me a question about who I think my favorite player I played against was. My favorite player, the favorite player I've ever played against was Dondre Phoenix. My favorite. I mean, the way that cat directed the offense, the way that cat got it done for Easton, man. I mean, so that's why I know that if Easton had got there, Milford Mill didn't have nothing for what Dondre was going to bring them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With him and Wayne Wilson.
I get about Deion Gibson.
Gibson. I think Cephas was on that team. Man, he took that team over and played Milford Mill. They wouldn't have had nothing for him. So I'm saying that either way, it was either us or Easton, it was coming back to the shore.
Yeah, it was coming back. Yeah, that the talent, man, was remarkable. I mean, it really was. And even after this, it's still stuff I'm gonna look up this to see, because I couldn't even get everything, or we would have been here all night talking. Trust me, it was so much I see. I just gotta, you know, it was so much, man. It was like, wow, like this is awesome. Like just hearing about this and reading about the talent, the competitiveness, you know. And I'm gonna give you, and I'm gonna say what Donnie said on here, and I'm glad Don said it, because again, you're a humble guy. You want to say about yourself, but I heard this before about you, that you were very Magic-like. I know you got that jersey behind you there of Irvin Mad Johnson, and Donnie said the same thing. You were a big guard, pure point guard, high IQ, lefty with incredible vision, and he said the same thing in another post some months back, you know, about you too. So as far as your game, again, I know who you looked up to, you know, your family and all y'all did, but was Magic Johnson that point guard, since you were that big guard that you looked at, and was like, I could go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, man, you know, Magic was my all-time favorite. Coming up, I mean, it was just something about the way, I mean, I was already a point guard, and to watch the way Magic would just bring showtime to the game. And really, that's what I loved about it. That's what I wanted to be like, was the way he had the no look, the way he would thread the needle, the way he would get the fast break started. And I always wanted to be like Magic. I wasn't a big time scorer. I just wanted to make the crowd go ooh by my pass, not by my shot.
Got you.
And I think, man, I had a couple of them to make. I had a couple games where I made people go ooh and ah. But I mean, Magic was my guy. He was my brother's guy. I mean, we just followed Magic. We wanted to be like Magic, and I'm telling you, man, it was something, man. It was just something.
Yeah.
Magic was my guy.
Yeah, I bet, man. But I've heard that, you know, about you and that high IQ and you know, being a floor general and feeding different ones, making sure, like you said, Sharon gets his shot. I was telling you about, I was reading about, was it Richard Melbourne and Sean Johnson, different ones. Yeah. You know, y'all guys had some talent, so you had to keep them fed. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll come to you and say, hey, yeah.
You know, and you know, Lance, it's humbling to hear people say that about me. You know, about how I could direct it and how I had good court vision, and you know, that was my thing. You know, I didn't really concentrate on scoring. I wanted to get everybody else involved. And that was just, I enjoyed that more than anything. I remember a game in particular when we played Steve Decatur, and I had about 20 points that night. And I remember Miller coming to me, and he said to me, he said, man, you know, I'm glad that you're scoring, but your job here is to distribute. And I said, okay. And I tried to run that to wits end.
Yeah.
To get everybody else involved, you know, and I mean, it became fun making the extra pass, knowing that I had an open shot, but trying to get a better shot. You know, it became fun, man. So that was just that was my thing. It was just humbling to hear people compare me to Magic, and it was just humbling to hear that, man. So I was just
that's awesome.
Doing what I love to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you and Donio's relationship, you know, follow, you know, to UMES, obviously where he played. And I do want you to touch on after high school and that as well. But I was just going back for a quick second, just thinking about where you were talking about the talent. I know that you had Tyrone Travis went to Radford.
Yeah.
You had Jeff Chambers went to James Madison.
Yeah.
Now talk about Six for a second, because I was reading a couple of different things. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he ended up going to JUCO first before VCU. But I was reading that he was supposed to go to James Madison or Radford as well.
I think
at least that's what I heard.
I think Six first went to Chowan Junior College, which was in North Carolina, I think it was, or I think it was Carolina. I'm not for sure. But then after that, there was some rumblings of him going to Radford. But I didn't really know the whole ins and outs of it. But then all I know is he ended up with Sonny Smith at VCU. So
got VCU.
You know, and we tuned every time VCU came on ESPN. We had game parties just to sit back.
I bet. Man, I bet.
This is one of us. So we
it's one of us.
And to hear the commentators call his name out, to hear Sharon Mills for the and one, because he played the post. Played with guard Kendrick Warren. That's who he played with.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Enjoying all that, just watching him play, and then to hear him get called for the draft. I mean, I think all of Snow Hill,
Timberwolves, right?
I think everybody in Snow Hill had something with Minnesota Timberwolves on it. I don't know if it was a hat.
I bet.
I don't know if it was a hat, bumper sticker. I don't know what it was. But everybody in Snow Hill, once we heard that, the next day, I believe half of Snow Hill was in the mall looking for something.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Like you said, support, man. We're a small knit family, man. So it's all about sticking together. It's all about sticking together. So that's awesome. Go ahead.
No, because then you name it where different people went at. Then I believe you had. I think Donnie O went to UMES. I think Tyrone Travis went to Radford. I think you did say Jeff Chambers went to James Madison.
Yeah, James Madison.
Six went to Chowan and then VCU. Richard Milber went to UMES, which was our shooter.
Oh, okay.
And it was I think it was another big name that went somewhere that year, but I can't remember who it was. But it was a few.
Donnie, you out there? Let us know.
Huh?
I told Donnie if he out there, let us know, because I know he probably know who that name is.
I ain't gonna say Donnie O. Bobby Brown, if you on here, you are the.
Oh yeah, Bubba on here too.
You're the historian. So Bobby Brown is here, man. That's what it was. Donnie O said West Cornish went to Marshall
in '88. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. West Corners, yeah.
I know there's another big name out there somewhere that went somewhere within that '88, '89 spill.
Man,
so, yeah,
awesome,
it was good.
Man, phenomenal. So after high school for you, I know, like I said, you're younger than them, so you graduated in '90. How was your '90 team? How was that team your senior year after losing?
Listen, man,
how was it?
And we came in 1990, the 89-90 year. We won the first 7 games. We went 7-0, and then we got to Y High, and Y High gave us our first loss. Last year, from the year before to this year, they had a guard by the name of Marvin Church. The dude, he's a barber called Marv the Barb, but Marvin Church, man, he just went off. He was a guard that went off on us that night, and we had a pretty decent season. I mean, I think we only lost like maybe 4 or 5 games. We lost to Colonel Richardson in the regional semifinals. And the reason why we lost, they actually went to the state that year. Colonel Richardson did. They had a guard, big man, was a swing guy by the name of Donnie Bolden. I'll never forget it, man. He was a sleeper, and he got it done against us. We lost that game, and we confess to it now because we were looking forward to playing our rival. Our rival was Pocomoke, and Pocomoke was in that final. Right. So y'all was looking ahead, looking to play Pocomoke, but Colonel Richardson ended up beating us, and then Colonel Richardson ended up beating Pocomoke. So, but that's kind of how our season kind of unfolded. We were decent. We made some noise. Yeah, solid year for sure. We should have easily went back, but again, man, we looked ahead. Our egos got in the way. And Colonel Richardson stuck up and bit us that night, man. And being that you was a senior, and that's your last game, knowing you should have state, man, that hurt us, man. That hurt us. Yeah, it hurt. It hurt. And, y'all kind of did what the Clippers did. Y'all looked ahead. Yeah, man. You put us in that category, But I know last year. Last week you got talking to Bubby about their rivals, which was Pocomoke. And Pocomoke was our rival. They were, Lance, I don't know if you know the history, but we're only 10 miles away from each other. So that's it. It's like that Carolina Duke rivalry, And Bubby touched on it last week, and it's the same thing with us. Our games back then was like 5:30 and 7. Yeah, 5:30 and 7. Yeah, prime time, baby. People was outside lining up at 2:30. Yeah. To get, small gyms. It was just phenomenal. So we looked ahead to them in that region, that Final Four, and they bit us. And of course, we still went up. And supported them. Hoping they bring it back. I don't think they bought it back. But just to go up and for me it was a little different though because I went to support them, but I was saying to myself we should be here, not Colonel Richardson. yeah. I gotta say, I bet. And Donnie said Mike Roberts from Pocomoke was real tough. Mike Roberts. Oh my God. So he was real tough. Yeah. When I came through, I think when he came on the scene, when I was a senior, I think Mike was a freshman or a sophomore. He was a lefty, man, that could just fill it up. And back then the kid had just came out. This kid could shoot it. I'd put him up with anybody back then to fill it up. He could actually shoot it. Yeah, and one thing before we move on about when you're talking about that Snow Hill and Pocomoke rivalry, and like you said, only separated about 10 miles, and you're right, it does remind you of a Duke and Carolina. No joke. Being from the North, if I was to close my eyes and someone take me to East Gym, it's almost like identical gyms. Like I never forget, I played in Pocomoke. I played in Pocomoke a lot as a grade school, middle school. But as far as high school, we went there my 10th grade year, and then we went to Pocomoke. Went to Snow Hill my 11th grade.
it's like identical. You're right though that I think you remember I was telling Bubby last week. Your fans are right there. Like you look up, you try to take the ball out of bounds, and they gotta tell them to scoot over. That's how close it is. So.
in Snow Hill, we had our sixth man was the corner, so we had all of the. You don't want to call them the neighborhood drunks, but those guys be in that corner, and they would be 2 rows deep. And
they gonna talk for stuff.
Today, what they remember of Snow Hill High School, they'll say, "I remember a guy by the name of Sylvester Bratton who ran that corner." And they talk crazy. Teams would actually cut their offense in half because they didn't want to go to that corner. And
that's crazy.
And Lance, this is no lie. Lance, this is no lie. Our principal allowed it. You know, back nowadays you can't have
it. Nowadays,
You can't stand. You can't do none of that. This is what our principal did. It was Kelly Shoemate. He said, "Give me a cop in that corner, and all I want that cop to do is just manage them to not come on the floor. Let them say what they want. Let them do what they want, because that was they knew that was in our favor."
Wow.
That corner,
that's home court advantage.
Anybody will tell you when they come to Snow Hill, it was a small gym. Corner was going to be a place you didn't want to go. You took the ball out over there.
Yeah.
Cameron crazies would do like this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I remember that.
They talking to you while you standing there.
That stuff. Yep.
And it was good time.
That's good times, man. It's nothing like it. That's a good time. That's a good time. So, what was your mind frame, or just what did you want to do? You know, after high school, I know you ended up going to UMS. Did you want to play ball? Was it all about getting your education? Let's talk a little bit about that.
You know, coming out of high school, I was, and I look back at it now and I kick myself. I was one of those guys who didn't apply themselves. After my high school years was over, I just went to UMES to test the waters out just to see if it was something I wanted to do. I really didn't. I didn't really have a plan. I really didn't. I was just going on a whim just to see what it was going to be like, and it was just, like I said, I look back at it now, and I'm like, man, of course you have that. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. But at that time, you smelling yourself, and and I just didn't, and I tried. That's why I'm so appreciative of the mentors and the coaches that we have in this day and time who don't mind stressing, have a plan, and I'm quite sure, and listen, I know we had it back in my day, but we just didn't listen. I just didn't listen, and I don't mind being transparent about it. I just didn't listen. Life was getting the best of me. And I just didn't have a plan. So I was just out there. Like I told you before, I'm going hang in Donnie O's room, listen to him.
He was on that turntable, wasn't he?
Yes, sir. He was getting it in, and I know I would be late to class just because he's in there getting me. I'm a big time lover, so man, he bringing all that stuff. He's scratching and mixing it and doing that, and again, I just didn't have a plan. So, but I'm just great, and that's why even though I didn't have a plan, life didn't get the best of me.
That's good. Yeah.
I still was treading. I still was, I wasn't where I wanted to be. I wasn't nowhere near what I wanted to do. And in fact, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just out there, just walking in no man's land, and I had a lot of, and I'm one of those stories, that he should have went somewhere. When you talk those kind of stats, and when you talk about, people who should have actually done something or been somewhere, I kind of put myself in that category. I feel like I should have, but again, I didn't apply myself, and I don't, and I don't know who's listening or whatever, man. Always have a plan. Have a plan on what you want to do. Don't be that statistic of, man, he should have been somewhere. I like I am. I'm one of those statistics, but yet I thank God for grace and mercy, who still kept His hand upon me. And one day my eyes woke up and said, "Listen, it's not enough for me. There's got to be a better way." And I was never one on drugs, never one who drank a whole lot. But I was one, again, like I said, I was treading water. And until one day I just woke up and said, it's got to be a better way of this. And I fought my way and still not where I want to be, but I thank God I'm not where I used to be. So
and that's it.
That's my thing after high school.
See, that's it right there. And I'm glad you said that. And like you said, for the ones that's listening, I don't know if you heard him, but he said, have a plan. And then not only, you have a plan of knowing, have something to fall back on. But the other thing you said was, well, actually what I'm going to say is that even though you went through that, it was all for a reason. Because look at the impact you've made in young women's lives, young males' lives, and into what I want to get into next, which is coaching. I know you were starting off, you were the assistant coach of the Snow Hill boys. And I know in 2008, if I'm not mistaken, they were undefeated and won the states, if I'm not mistaken. Talk to me about that. Did you know you wanted to get into coaching since you love the game so much, or was it something you stumbled across, or what? Tell me a little bit about that.
I always wanted to coach. I always wanted to coach. Again, I didn't have a plan on how to get there, but I always wanted to coach. Coaching was always in me. Like I said, man, I got a family who all we do is eat and sleep basketball. So we talking. And I knew, like I said, my father was a men's league coach back in the day. I remember him taking me to games and the practices. And so that kind of fell on me when I started coaching youth basketball. I was doing a lot of youth activities with kids in the area. And then I remember Sean Alvarado, who took over the Snow Hill job. He had asked myself and Sharon and Sean Johnson to come help him coach. So he was there for a couple years. And then after Alvarado left, Miller came back, and Miller asked me to help him coach. So I was there with him, helping him. I was actually the head of the JV program. And then I was an assistant on the rest of his teams. So it was one of those things, man, where I didn't really stumble across it. I just fell in the right place. I always had a dream. I wanted to be head coach at Snow Hill, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So I then, after the 2008 season, I went to coach girls for Snow Hill. They asked me to coach the girls program, which I was cool with it because I was still coaching. But after a couple of years, I knew that girls wasn't my thing because I just couldn't relate to girls like I could relate to guys. So I remember distinctly having a conversation with B.J. Johnson one time, coach of Stephen and Cater. I remember talking to him, and I said to him real casually, I said, BJ, if I ever get the chance, I want to come back and coach boys basketball. And lo and behold, back in 2011 or 2012, I got a call from BJ. BJ called me and he says to me, he said, man, listen, do you still want to get back in the boys game? And I said, man, if the right opportunity comes, man, yeah. He said, listen, man, I got the perfect place for you to coach. And I said to him, where's it at? He said, Washington High. I said to myself, Washington, man, come on, man. And he said, and this is what he told me. He said, Nick, man, I'm going to tell you something. There's some talent down there, and they need somebody to just guide them.
Just to guide them and hone it in.
Yeah. So he said, man, look, man, William Johnson, who was the principal then, he said he just called me talking about BJ, and BJ said, Nick, I'm not going to take it because I got my eyes on Stephen Decatur. But if you want it, I'm going to tell him to call you. So I said, okay, man, ain't no harm in talking.
So he calls me and he says, Nick, man, listen, I need a coach at Washington High. The coach who just was here, Vic Burns, he just rolled out. I need somebody to take over. So I said, Will, let me think about it. And he gave me like 3 days to think about it. Called a couple people up, asked for their input. And I remember distinctly, I called Derek Fuchs, the coach of Pocomo. I called my brother. I called my dad. I called Kevin Purnell. And I called them 4. And I said, man, what do y'all think? And each one of them told me the same thing. They said, man, go for it. And Derek Fuchs said something to me that was so profound. Derek Fuchs said to me, he said, Nick, you need to take that job in Washington because you got so much to offer outside of Snow Hill. Because everything I had was Snow Hill related. That kind of kicked the light bulb to me. So I went on and took that Washington job, and the rest was history, man. That first year was a phenomenal year.
Remarkable, man.
We did something. Something there that had not been done in 30 plus years.
Yeah.
I took
1975.
Yep, we took them to the state Final Four. And I do believe, Lance, that if I didn't see Dunbar first, I would have been in that championship. Looking at that,
I believe that. Oh yeah.
We were and all of us. It was something. It was just a remarkable year, man. And I'm grateful for that opportunity to go to Washington. I had a lot of Snow Hill people that was a little upset with me for going and probably the way I did it. But I went there and I had to make my mark, man, and I had to show people I could do this.
You could coach, yeah.
We went there and it was great, man. I mean, going up against BJ and going up against Derek and going up against at the time Bubby was an assistant at Stephen Decatur. Going up against those guys, man. I mean, I still missed it a little bit, but man, going back to my first year there, first couple years there, man, it was phenomenal, man. It was phenomenal.
I want to ask you about a couple specific things about that year. Before I get to that, though, what was your biggest? I know you were when you got the call and BJ asked and you talked to different people and what Derek told you. Was your biggest thing not wanting to disappoint Snow Hill by going to coach at Washington? Were you worried about disappointing people, or since you wanted to be the Snow Hill coach, or what was in your thinking on why it was a tough decision at first?
Well, it wasn't really so much. It wasn't so much of a tough decision of going to Washington. It was the decision of me going to somewhere. Well, it was the decision of going somewhere new.
I got you.
I had been everything I did was Snow Hill related.
Everything you did was Snow Hill, yeah.
So for me to go to a new spot where I didn't know people, where they had to get accustomed to the way I coach, and you had to get accustomed to them. It was all something. Man, what's the word I want to say, man? It was just challenging for me to make that decision. I knew that's what I wanted to make sure that's really what I wanted to do. It really didn't have anything to do with me leaving Snow Hill because I'm because of after when I made the decision, after some of the things that I was told and by the way I did it, it turned me into an angry man, and I never want to go back to that place again. And of course, a lot of it probably was on me by the way I did it, but still, I was like, man, when I played Snow Hill, I really ran the score up on them, Lance, and the way I did it, man, was wrong. But when I beat them, I wasn't really beating the players. I was beating all those that was talking bad about me.
Oh, those are talking that junk about you. Yeah.
It was unfortunate that those kids had to be a part of what I was doing. And it was not, and I'll be the first to say, no, it was not right. But at the same time,
that was my struggle at the time, was, me leaving Snow Hill. And then when I heard some of that stuff, it just, it really upset me.
Yeah.
But at the same
Yeah,
time,
that's it. Yeah.
but at the same time, I mean, it was, that was really the challenge. It wasn't really about me leaving. It was just the challenge of going to a new place, and once we got accustomed, and once we started winning, everything started to feel a whole lot better. They say winning solves everything.
When it's all, that's right. When it solves everything, it secured everything. Talk a little bit about that team. And obviously you're going to a new place. I know, Coach BJ had told you that there's some talent there, but obviously you had to go and hone the talent and put your imprint on it. Talk to me around about the Christmas tournament time. I was reading about, what I can tell from reading and just from knowing you, you are a very good in-game adjustment coach. And what I mean by that, I was reading about the Christmas tournament, about how good your record was in the Christmas tournament, about how you guys took down a lot of the tougher talent that was in that Governor Challenge, and you guys kind of the word I'm looking for, you kind of wanted to see where you were at for the rest of the year. Talk a little bit about that.
I remember my first year at Washington. We had played, I think it was 5 games before the Christmas tournament, and I think we ended up going 3-2 before the Christmas tournament. And I know we lost to Kent Island, we lost to Parkside, and I want to say we lost to Bennett. At the time, Bennett had Holden, Holden, and Jordan Duffy. So I know when I got there, I was 4. Actually, we were 3-3. I'm sorry. I know we lost those 3 games. So when I got to that Governor's Challenge, I said, "Oh, it was back then. It wasn't as big as it is now." When I first got there, when we first got there in that 2012-13 season, when I got there, it was more or less Maryland versus Delaware. So I played Seaford and Woodbridge. And when we played Seaford and Woodbridge, that's when that's when I played with some stuff. I played with my players. I played with my rotations. I played with my I played with a lot of stuff during that whole tournament. And we ended up winning pretty big. So I said, okay, let me roll this, what I learned in this tournament, let me roll this over to the season. And after we beat those 2, the remainder of the season, we only lost 2 games to 1 team. Waha is the only team that beat me from the first game after Christmas until we played Dunbar. Waha was the only team that beat me. They were the only team. Wow. And they were the only team that beat me. So it was that Christmas tournament was like our spring, we treated those games like scrimmages. So that way we knew,
as you should.
We were already on the bigger floor. We knew we could try some stuff out on the bigger floor, and we just went and got it done. And Bubby Brown, you are so right. There was a gentleman by the name of Thomas Brown who I could not stop. This guy was a man child for Y-High, and that was who beat us, was Thomas Brown both times. Both times. But other than that, man, that Governor's Challenge, I always said that was the greatest tournament I ever played in, because it did so much for me and my team. And each year I look forward to playing that. And then like you said, we took down like Randallstown, we took down Irvo, C.H. Flowers, they really put it on us. I think we played City one year, I think they put it on us. But going up against those bigger squads, man, I was going to make sure that people knew that Washington was in the building. That was my. I wanted us to be that competitive team where when you saw Washington on your schedule, it wasn't going to be the Washington of old.
That's real. That's so real.
I mean, Lance, I'm going to tell you something, man. When I went into Washington, my plan was to change the culture.
That was my plan. So I mean, it wasn't all about. I wanted to bring the town together. I wanted to bring the county together, and this is how I did it. I brought in a DJ during our game.
Yeah. It's like Waha like Waha does.
That's where I got the idea from.
I like it. Yeah.
I said I'm gonna change. I said I want people to come to our games, and I want them to experience a fun atmosphere. And nothing makes it more fun than music.
Yeah. Yep.
When the timeouts are going on, when halftime. I mean, I remember distinctly one game. I'm not for sure if it was Decatur or it was Parkside, but I remember at halftime when we came back out, I just looked around the gym, and to see so many people dancing and enjoying life, I said, okay, it's starting to be starting to change. You know, people they were just coming. I wanted to change the culture because they had lost so much down there that I wanted to bring a winning atmosphere. So not only about games, but about everything that we did. So that was my approach. And I somewhat miss it, but with the way things are now, I somewhat don't. So
I feel you.
So, but I mean, but I had always said, man, if you want to bring people together, you bring music. Music's gonna bring them.
Yeah, it brings everybody together. Yep.
Lance, this is what I did, Lance. I had a DJ. I said, listen, I don't want you playing this new stuff. I want you to play this old stuff.
There you go. That's what brings together the old stuff.
I said that 80s and 90s. I want that kind of music played. I said I want the older heads to enjoy this more than the younger ones.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah.
That's where I was at with it, man. And they enjoyed it. And
I like that because that really is, when you talk about changing the culture, that's what it really is. And you know what I thought about when as you were talking and even, you know, reading and different things down, like you said, when you were younger, you went to UMES just to see how things was, which is in, like I said, obviously people don't know it's in Princess Anne. Washington High School is in Princess Anne. So you ended up going back in another way to help out an area that you didn't even know you was going back to. Exactly. And then you were very, and you were very, I'm gonna say it how, as you would say it, because I know that very John Thompson like. I know John Thompson, the late great John Thompson, was somebody that you looked up to. You had the towel over your shoulder, just like John Thompson would, and all that. And I'm gonna read something real quick. I normally don't read quotes, but I'm gonna read something that they said about you in the paper. Now, go back to when you were your senior year. You said that Colonel Richardson was one of those teams that, you know, y'all ended up looking by and they ended up getting y'all whatever. Yeah. And the semis, I don't know if you remember, y'all beat Colonel Richardson while you were coaching the Jaguars, 60-55. And at the beginning of the article, it says he preached it before, and the gospel of Nick Purnell continued to be prophecy Tuesday night. And it's just crazy that you know, the man of God that you are and the sports lover that you are, that's what they said about that. And then I'm gonna get you an answer. I want to say this too. And then after you guys beat Colonel, and I remember this Kent County team. Y'all played Kent County.
Yeah.
Kent County jumped out 11-2 on y'all. I don't know if you remember. Jumped out 11-2. You called a timeout. Everything else. Talk about it.
Actually, it was 19-6. They jumped out
19-6. Okay. 19-6.
And I remember on the bus going up to Kent. I said to my guys,
that's a ride too, ain't it? That's a ride too, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I said to them, listen, they're gonna punch you in the mouth because they're home. When you're home and they're riding high off of that energy, you're gonna get punched in the mouth. I've been there. But here's the key. Are you gonna stay down or are you gonna get back up? So when we went down 19-6, I called that timeout. I said, guys, you just got punched in the mouth. So what we gonna do? And it was like the light bulb came on and we scratched and clawed and scratched and clawed. And when I remember at the half, I think we were down 2 or down 4. And I said I said to them at the half, I said, it's your win if you want it. I said, you already won the Storm. You got them against the ropes. Now what we going to do? And I said, and I always preach to these guys, I always said to them, you are in a 32-minute situation. I said, the game of basketball is about situations. What are you going to do in the situation? How you gonna manage the moment? And I would always preach that to them. How are you going to manage the moment? You're in a situation. A 32-minute game is all about situations. So I kept breaking it down to them. Each quarter is a situation. So in that fourth quarter, I remember we were up 1, and everything just started to just turn the tide for us. The guy he was playing us man to man, and I remember I said, guys, this is what we practiced on all year. When a team goes man to man, nobody can hang with us playing man to man. I mean, we were playing, we were picking the lights out of them, and next thing I know, we went from being up 1 to up 8 within 3 minutes. And from that, I said, now guys, let's just ride the moment. You play smart. I said, you play smart, we're going to the state. And those guys, they did it, and lo and behold, 32 years later, Washington High is back in the semifinal.
It's truly, when I was reading, I had to read it a couple of times, honestly, because it's truly remarkable that y'all like you said, you were down 11-2, then 19-6, and 13-point deficit, and come back, and then y'all ended up winning by 12. It was 83-71. So it's not like y'all came back one by a point, 1 or 2. You ended up dominating them and winning by 12. And for you, most times when a coach goes to a new team, and you talk about culture, and I'm glad you said it, 'cause I'm big on culture nowadays, especially with everything going on in the world. Energy is important. So for you to go in your first year, now if everybody listening, he got a team to the States in his first year. This all happened in 2012, 2013. His first year, he got them to the States, Washington High School, the Jaguars, and ended up getting Coach of the Year as well, as you should have. Was that Coach of the Year, and at that time you might didn't celebrate it or enjoy it, but looking back, how fulfilling was it for you getting that Coach of the Year your first year, everything that people had said, everything you had been through? How did that feel, being able to say you were the Coach of the Year that year, or you didn't really look at it that way?
It was very fulfilling because I was living out a dream, which was coaching high school basketball. So of course it was me being recognized for what I knew I could do. And I remember Lance, when I was announced, we were in the Bayside Championship, and of course we always have the meeting. The coaches would have a meeting, and the coaches voted on they were coaching. They were voting on who should be the Coach of the Year, and I'll never forget it. Derek was sitting beside me, and of course Derek was the one running the meeting, and I looked at Derek's paper, and I saw the coaches' names, and I saw how he kept putting the slashes by my name.
Yeah, the slash.
I saw how he would put the names of who voted for me. So there were 9 coaches in that room. 9 coaches in that room. I want you to hear this. 9 coaches in that room. I had received 6 of the 9. There were, of course, I didn't vote for myself. At that time, I voted for Dean Sullivan, who was the Bennett coach.
Okay. Oh, okay.
There were 2 coaches who didn't vote for me. One of them was Mardella. The other one was Snow Hill. So it was I looked at it and I saw it. And once they announced it,
once they announced the coach of the year, I remember I went out in the hallway and I started crying. And I called my brother. And he was the first person I called. And I said, D, man, you never guess what happened. He said, what is it? I said, man, they just announced me as coach of the year. And my brother kept saying to me, I told you it was going to happen. I told you it was going to happen. He was like my big inspirational leader throughout that whole year, because anytime I had a problem or anytime I had a question or anytime some things just didn't go right, I always would call my brother. So I called him crying, letting him know. And he said, man, I told you it was going to happen. So, man, now you just continue to walk in what they gave you. And from then on, man, I mean, I was like, I was just so filled. Because it wasn't me, it was my peers who saw it.
Exactly. It makes you feel good when other people see it.
It feel good when everybody else can see, man, this dude, he did up something this year, and he needs we need to acknowledge him for what he did. So I was just so humbled and grateful at that opportunity. Now, and it was like the icing on the cake, man. I mean, and we hadn't, and mind you, we hadn't played the playoffs yet, because we always would do the bayside before playoffs. So this was all announced before we went to the state.
Before you went to the state. Wow.
It was announced before playoffs started. So that was another humbling piece, man, that these guys in this saw something out of me to name me the best coach in the Bayside South for this year. Man, it was, I'm telling you, it was just so grateful and so gratifying, man. It was just a fulfilling experience, man. And often, man, I think about that moment, because that was a highlight of my life.
You should. Yeah, you should. It probably still gives you goosebumps now, probably. I mean, you should. That was a great year. I mean, like you said, I haven't seen that a first-year coach. I mean, that's remarkable, man. It really is.
But Lance, here's the thing, man. Everybody would tell me that the talent before I came was even better than what I had.
Is that right? Wow.
They said that listen, Lance, when I walked into that gym for the first time, and when I first did my first day of tryouts, I called my brother again. I said, D, I just walked into a hidden treasure. There were so many kids in that gym to play that I was like, man, are you serious? And everyone told me that there was some players before that year who were even better than what I had. And I'm like, are you serious? And they kept running down different names, and I'm like, wow, are you serious? I mean, to do that, man, at that time, I was just grateful.
Yeah.
I was just one grateful.
Yeah. So, and it's something how, sometimes when, like me, I'm just kind of reflecting and looking back, and I'm kind of thinking now, remember like that time, and I kind of remember thinking to myself, like, Washington's good? Like, how is Washington? Because, I kind of forgot, and then obviously not knowing you, and now realizing that you were the coach, I'm like, okay, well, now it makes sense. I see why they were, because, like you said, when I was, in school, we never played them anyway from the North, but even over here in the South, it just wasn't the school you thought of. But, I mean, what you did in 1 year, I mean, it was remarkable. So, again, my hat off to you for that. And I hate to fast forward, the time, but if we go 4 years later, you have a 70, I want everybody to hear this, 70 wins, only 35 losses in 4 seasons. And the headline in the paper said I didn't resign. And basically you were let go for reasons that you can elaborate. I know I was reading, they try to say they wanted someone in the school system. They try to say this, that, and the third, and, throw these things out. But so what actually happened, and after those 4 great years? Because, 70-35.
We're on a real podcast. This is a real show. So let me just go ahead and be real.
Okay.
There was the coach at the time was named Danny Lamb. Danny Lamb was at that year. Danny Lamb was named the athletic director. So Danny Lamb had a history. He had a history with some of those players that I had, and that was coming to me. So Danny Lamb used his authority of an athletic director and said, well, we want our coach in the building. Now I got it. You want your coaches in the building. I got that. But it wasn't what they did. It was the way they did it. I wasn't even told about it through them. I was on my way to the school one day, and I got a call saying, "You're no longer the coach at Washington." I said, "Man, what you talking about?" And he said, "Man,
wow,
they're replacing." I said, "What do you mean they're replacing me?" He said, "Man, they're replacing you." So of course, I got on the phone. I called the principal, the different principal at the time, and I said to him, I said, "Am I being replaced?" He said, "You never received your letter in the mail?" I said, "What letter?" He said, "Yeah, we're going to replace you." I said, "On what grounds?" He said, "Well, there's someone in the building who wants the job." I said to him, I said, so you couldn't have the common courtesy to call me in and tell me this? You were going to tell me through a letter? And he said, "Well, by law, we don't have to bring you in." I said, "Why? You interviewed me. So what's the difference?"
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and he said, "Well, someone in the building wants the job." And I said, "Can I ask you who?" And he wouldn't tell me. He said, "We're not at liberty to tell you that." I already knew that it was Danny Lamb who wanted the job. I already knew that. So, no, I didn't resign. Of course, there were some rumblings of me wanting to leave, of me wanting to come back to Snow Hill and help out. But I never resigned. I never said this is it from Washington. I never said that. They said they wanted someone in the building, and c'est la vie. That was it. That's how that whole thing went down. And again, no, I did not resign. They wanted Danny Lamb wanted the job. I don't mind saying who it was. Danny Lamb wanted the job. Danny Lamb got the athletic director position. Danny Lamb wanted to do what I did. He wanted a piece of what I did, and this was the way he could get me out and get himself in. And that was the end of that.
That's real. Now I appreciate you, like you said, being real, and like you said, you didn't have to share that, but I definitely appreciate it, because even when I was looking up, I kind of put 2 and 2 together, a little bit, because I was reading about Danny Lamb, and then they say he's the AD, and then they say he's the coach. I was like, okay, well, it don't take all of us to find out kind of what happened here. And I was reading about him saying that he wanted to slow the pace down and play a different way. I'm like, why? They were 70-35 and 4 seasons. So what's the need to change anything for?
Yeah, we were a team. We were a team who ran. We were a team that I love to get up and down. I love to press. I love to get up and down. My whole thought process of that, Lance, at that time, I don't want my kids to think a whole lot. I'm gonna put in a very simple system that's very effective. And if Bobby Brown is on here, Bobby Brown knows is what's known as the system. Why High ran it for years. When we won the state championship in Snow Hill, we ran the system, and I took it to Washington, and we won at Washington. So it was a very simple system. It was a number system, very effective, very easy system to learn. And
Danny Lamb wanted to slow the pace down. Danny Lamb wanted to run Princeton basketball, yada, yada, this, that, and the third. And, you know, that may work for some people. It didn't work for him. So, you know, and again, we're on a real podcast, and I know how to say it with respect and with dignity. Danny Lamb just, you know, he wanted it. He ousted me so he could get what I want. Period.
That's it. And before I move on, if I may ask, is he still the coach there? Right? Is he still coaching?
No.
Oh, okay. No, he's not even.
He is now an official.
Oh wow.
So,
okay. All right.
I'm gonna let you figure it out.
Yeah.
He's an official.
I'll leave that alone. Yeah.
He was only coaching there for 2 years, 3 years tops, and you know, again, that just shows you the motive of what happened.
I was just gonna say the motive. It wasn't about the kids. It was a selfish thing. But yeah, I'll move on before I say something too.
Let's
but yeah.
I want your viewers to come back next week. So let's move.
I appreciate it. So let me ask you. I normally ask people this kind of before as we get started, but ask you this now as far as with everything going on with COVID-19 and with all the racism and injustice and systemic racism and everything. Two-part question. First, how are you and the family, you know, during this time? And the second part of that is, how do you, especially as a black man who is in ministry and obviously a believer of Jesus Christ, how do you keep the faith and encourage others during, you know, times like these?
Well, first, the family, we're fine. You know, we, you know, I mean, it affected us just like everybody else. You know, just because we're believers of Jesus Christ, it doesn't mean that it doesn't affect us.
That's right. There you go. You know, exactly.
I don't want people to think that, well, just because, you know, they go to church and they're in they're children of God, that they don't feel effects of
they don't go. That's right.
We feel it just
same.
You know, in fact, we feel it worse because this is when, you know, the tests and trials come to make you.
Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir, brother.
So now it's like you're in a position now where when you believe what God can do, and when you believe that He is the author and finisher of your faith, you have no other choice but to, number one, trust His plan. And with this pandemic, you can't look at it from the natural eye. Some of us have to look at it from the spiritual eye.
Yep.
So knowing that this was nothing new to God, it was new to us.
Nope.
And and what the challenge for us was, we wasn't prepared for it. So now we have to learn how to adjust, just like the next man. But the difference is, we know that there's an ultimate power that has everything in control. Even when things look out of control, we still know that God is in control. So even in the midst of the financial shutdown, even in the midst of the lack of food, even in the midst of unexpected death, even in the midst of all of these different climate changes, in the midst of all of this, we know that the Bible still stands clear when He says in Romans that the sufferings of this present time is not worthy to be compared of the glory that's about to be revealed.
Oh, yes.
So you in this time, all we got, Lance, is the word. So how we making it is by the word. Again, are we feeling it? Of course we do. We ain't no need. Listen. It ain't no time for us to sit up here walking like super saints. And here we are, still hurting in the midst of all of this. Nobody prepared for this. So the way we get through it is we know there's a bright line somewhere, and we know that it's coming. And as the older folk used to say, he may not come when we want him, but when he does, he's going to be
right on time. Right on time. Right on time. I'm glad you said that too, because like you said, I tell people we're going through the same. It ain't no different. Like you said, it's not worse. And especially when you think about all the idle time you've had this year compared to years past, to where you would be at a service or going to serve and do this or going to do that. And obviously now things are trying to start moving back up, but you never know kind of how things are going, especially those months where, all the services were, pretty much, you couldn't get in the buildings and stuff like that. What are you and your church doing right now? Are you guys doing? I know you guys were doing a drive-through service, if I'm not mistaken, at one point. Are y'all still? What are you still doing drive-through?
We're not. We're our pastor is one who has said to us on a number of occasions, it's still out here. And
still out there. Still out here.
Just because
ain't going nowhere no time soon either.
Just because other people going back in the building don't mean we have to. And
That's right.
we're still worshiping outside. We know that, of course, it's a little different. But if you look at it now, you never would have reached as many people now than you would have in the church.
Great point. Great point. I said the same thing.
I remember I was talking to a preacher friend one time when all this first went down, and he said, "Nick, we gotta look at what's happening." He said, "God is putting us in detention so that way He can get our attention."
Ooh.
So
say that again. Say that again.
It's like he said, God had to put us in detention so that way we can get His attention on what He's doing and how He's doing it. And if you look at it, Lance, you can see different things taking place that never would have before the pandemic. One of the things is families are now started to come back together.
Before you go on, Nick, that right there, I want you to elaborate on it, but that right there is kind of the main call, because, for instance, my family, for instance, what we do now on Thursdays is on a Zoom call, we get together and have Bible study. We would have never done that before, and at one point we had done it years before and we had got out of it, and now my grandparents who are in their 80s, they get on. My cousin who doesn't go to the physical building as a church, but go ahead. I'm sorry. When you said that, it kind of blew my mind. I'm sorry.
No, you good, man. Because you think about it, man. You got families who are now eating at the tables again. You got families who are now talking to one another again.
Yeah.
The whole base of it is now families are now coming back together.
Yep.
That's one of the biggest things that you see, because, even though they say with COVID-19, you're not supposed to be around this one and that one, all you got now is your family.
That's all you got.
That's all you got now is your family. So now you bring all that together, and that's one positive thing that has come from this unexpected enemy. Because let's face it, he was unexpected to us. So now we got to find ways to cope with it. And your way of coping with it is either by your family, because you can't get near your church family now. You don't know who they've been around.
Nope.
You can't go out with your coworkers and get together after work, because you don't know who they come close to. So now all you have is your immediate family. That's how we've been making it, is by family. Just by coming together with family. Now, don't get me wrong. Right now, you've been around your family so much that you want to get away for a minute.
Yeah, let's keep it real. That's right.
But then at the same time, you want to come back. So
yeah,
that's how we coping. That's how I feel that everyone cope. That my favorite show is a show called Blue Bloods, and
I know Blue Bloods. Yeah. That's with Donnie Wahlberg, right? Is that Donnie Wahlberg?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my favorite scene is when they're at the table eating.
Yeah, they always there. Yup. Mm-hmm.
Always at the table eating, and they're having conversation. If you notice, they ain't got no phones out. They ain't got no games out. All they doing is they're eating and conversating as a family. And that's what is coming back now through this pandemic, is people coming back. And now, don't get me wrong, some families have already been doing it.
Yeah.
But then you have some
more
stop where this pandemic has forced them to come back.
That's true. That's true. Great point. I hope people are listening and paying attention to that. So that's excellent points and what COVID has done. Let me talk to you. I ain't gonna hold you too much longer. Real Sports Fan Podcast. Got Nick Purnell here. This is a great episode. Listen. Y'all just get on here. Make sure you go back and watch it, share it, go on YouTube. Tell a friend. I'll tell you. But this has been awesome, really awesome. But we getting ready to get out here. But I got a couple more things. Now, you told me about the COVID part.
Yeah.
Have you experienced any negative things or racism in your neck of the woods? I know, and what I mean is Public County, we went through the whole Confederate statue issue. We wanted that removed. They wouldn't remove that. And Queen Anne's, they have the issue with the superintendent of the school, who all she wanted to do was let people know about racism and about, Black Lives Matter, and they trying to get her out of there. So I just wanted to know, in your area, is there anything directly going on or anything that's impacted you at all right now?
Well, back in June, we were having a little cookout at my house. Couple of guys, we just getting together out front of the yard, and these two white gentlemen pulls up, and one of them looks at my cousin and says, "There goes a black guy," and acts like he's pointing a gun, and goes boom. So me, of course, I got a little upset about it. I got a little upset about it, and went to this guy, and I said to him, I said, "What makes you think you can do this right now?"
That's fun. Right, and, with everything going on.
I said, "You can't do this in a Black Lives Matter movement." He says to me, "Well, all lives matter." I said, "With that comment, you just showed me where you are."
Yep.
So, to make a long story short, one of the gentlemen, the guy who pointed a fake gun at my cousin, was an ex-cop. Well, he's a retired Worcester County sheriff, and the guy who was driving the truck with him had been drinking. He had beers in his lap.
Wow.
So I said to him,
crazy.
I said, "Now, this doesn't look right." I said, "Because if the shoe was on the other foot, we would be arrested."
Oh my goodness, would we?
And I said to the driver, he said, "Well, Nick, man, we just playing." I said, "No, you're not playing." I said, "Because one thing you must understand." I said, "One thing you must understand: drunk lips speak sober thoughts."
Yep.
You drunk, you think you speak what you think when you sober. So I said to him, I said to the driver, I said, "Right now, I can't even really talk to you like that, because if my grandson was out here playing and you driving drunk, you could have hit him and you would have got off." So, and it was all around the time of the George Floyd incident. So with us here in Snow Hill, they did some type of visual for him. And make a long story short, I didn't get a chance to address this issue that bothered me.
You know, somebody else who was in my yard took the initiative to take full reign of the issue when it really happened in my yard.
I got you.
So that really bothered me because I told a couple people I kind of felt like George Floyd in that incident because I felt like they had their knee on my neck where I couldn't speak. So, but that's where I was at with that, and that's the only incident that I have experienced. But that's not saying that other people haven't experienced it.
Yeah,
experienced similar themselves. So it's going on everywhere. It's been going on. It's now just being videoed.
That's it.
And I know I gotta say this on our podcast, man. For those of y'all who are watching, you got to get out and vote. You got to register.
Please vote.
You don't only need to register, you need to register and go vote. And I was talking to a preacher friend, and he said, you know, he doesn't encourage mail-in voting because of this voter suppression. He said, if you can vote, take it to your your election or get to the polls yourself and vote. Try to do it. Now, some people, they may have to fill it in, but man, we got to get out. We got to get out.
Yeah.
And we got to vote.
Yep. Well said, Nick. Well said. I mean, it you know, it pains me to hear even after all this. I've seen some people on Facebook that even I know, black people, that even say, well, it ain't going to matter. I ain't going to vote. Like, it's just a slap in the face to your ancestors and all the people before us that come before. You got to vote. You can't want change and not vote. You've got to vote. So I'm glad you said that. I hope everybody's listening. But we got to vote. And like Nick said, show up at the polls, like you said, or take it to the election office, because you can't trust the mail-in ballots.
Yeah, because see, here's my thing, Lance, and I've said this ever since the George Floyd incident. I said, are we? And what it is we got to be careful what we're doing. What I mean by that is this: everybody wants to protest because it looks good, but when the smoke clears. What we're gonna do then?
That's it.
It's easy for us to be caught up in the moment. But
have a plan.
Are we in the middle of a movement, or are we in the middle of a moment?
Yep.
Because if you're in the middle of a movement, it won't take another killing for you to get out and do what needs to be done.
That's right.
If you're waiting until the next black man is killed unjustly, if you're waiting for the next racial incident to happen, and then you want to protest, you're in part of a movement. You're in part of a moment. But if you continue to do these things, even when things don't happen, that's a movement.
That's right. That's a movement. So
we need to be in the movement and not in the moment.
Yep. And one thing I'll say before I go to our last topic is, a lot of people are exposing themselves. I tell you, some of the white friends, some of the white friends we thought we had, or we thought we knew, or went to school with. I mean, you go on Facebook and some of these platforms, and you be like, "Oh man, I didn't know." Oh, who him, right?
Yeah.
They said that. I'm telling you, brother. They expose themselves, man. So.
Yes, sir.
You know,
yes, sir.
One of them things, man.
And I've always said it starts at the top. It starts at the top.
If they see him saying anything and doing anything, then what they gonna do? That's right.
They think it's okay. They
think it's cool.
He has made it so that it's okay to express how you feel, to do how you do what you want, without a care in the world, with no care or compassion for your fellow brother or sister.
Yeah.
And it has exposed itself since this man has been in office.
Yep, it sure has. We can't do it. We can't do another 4 years of him. We can't.
No.
We can't.
No.
We can't. So
we gotta vote, man. That's the bottom line. We gotta vote.
Yeah, that's it.
We got to get out and vote.
Yep.
Make your vote. And for those people who say your vote doesn't count, your vote does count. When you don't vote, yeah, that does count as well, because it don't count, because it has nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you might as well go ahead and go and vote, and see, when you don't vote, you ain't got nothing to say.
Yeah, nothing. That's right. That's right. That's right. Don't say nothing there. Don't complain there. Yep.
Don't say nothing.
That's true, brother. That's true, brother. And that's good. That's good. That's good. I hope y'all listen out there. But please go vote. Please go vote. Real Sports Fan Podcast with Nick Purnell. I'm getting on the last topic. I got to ask about the NBA real quick before I get them out of here. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I know you're a Magic fan, so I'm assuming you're a Laker fan. Am I safe to say? You're not? Who you like?
No. Let me change that, Lance. I'm a Wizard fan.
Okay. So, I understand that then. DC is closer.
I'm a Wizard fan. And as far as it's kept, Lance, I'm not a real big NBA guy. I'm a college guy.
College guy? Okay. Who's your college team? Georgetown?
Huh?
Are you Georgetown College, or who you like college?
Yeah, I'm Georgetown.
Georgetown.
And
okay.
But I love watching the college game before the NBA game. However, with these teams being in this bubble,
it's been different. Hadn't been good
because
balling,
there's no entertainment. It's about going out and hooping. And this is the first year in a long time that I am enjoying these playoffs. And
that's good to hear. Yeah.
And if your next question is, who do I have in the final?
That's what that question.
I got LA versus Miami.
Okay, you got us getting there. Okay, you got us getting. And
listen,
who you got? Who you got? Lakers in what, 6? If that's the final, or can Miami get them? Tough, ain't it?
I'm gonna tell you something. It's not going to. I got LA. It's going to be 6, but no blowouts. It's going to be a close game every game. I'm loving Jimmy Butler right now. I gotta be honest.
Dog.
Jimmy Butler is
man.
that dog right now.
He's a dog.
And I'm looking, and Jimmy Butler got all the rest of these dogs playing just like him.
Yup. Damn, we're all of them. Yup.
Listen, ain't none of them worrying about the hair being cut. They just out there playing.
That's it.
On a business trip.
Ain't gonna dial all of the business trip. That's right. Yeah.
They got every last one of them looking like him.
Yeah, that's true. Cause look, they even asked Jimmy. They said, why you ain't had none of your family come? He said, I'm on a business trip. I ain't worried about no family right now.
I'm on a business trip, and for him, he's got his players playing the same way. And I got LA, Miami, but LA in 6 now. Don't get me wrong, that game, and I believe Denver should have won that game last night. Denver should have won that.
Yeah, they should have. They should have won it. Yeah, AD, big shot. I seen when you said it on Facebook when he hit the shot. Yeah, big shot. Big shot. Yeah.
But that Joker, good almighty. Joker, man.
He a bad boy. I was telling people about him a couple years ago, man. He a bad boy. Mm-hmm.
Joker reminds me of me. He can't run. He can't jump.
Mm-hmm. He just get it done. Can't run, can't jump. He just get it done.
Can't jump, but the dude got vision. The dude has got an IQ out of this world. I'm telling you, when AD come run that corner and Rondo put that pass right in stride. Right. You put it no better. Mm-hmm. You couldn't put it no better. Yeah. So I think that with that shot, it might have deflated Denver's sales a little bit.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
So and I got LA, and then I got your boys. I got Miami, but I think when they run into Bron and AD and them Mamba jerseys, that might be it.
Yeah. And you know what? And Nick, I'm not even mad with you because before the playoffs, I actually predicted. It was. Let me see. I think we had 6 of us on that podcast, and I think it was only 2 of us that said it was going to be Boston and Miami. Me and my boy D Skinner. But I always told people, I said we'll actually have an easier time with Milwaukee than we do Boston. People was like, how? Because of the matchups. One thing with Boston, because I ain't gonna lie, I was surprised when we was up 2-0. I knew we was gonna lose game 3 because I thought it was gonna be 1-1 anyway. Yeah. Because Boston, I hope you're right because I picked Boston to beat us in 7. Now that was before we went up 2-0, and I think it's gonna be hard for them to beat us 4 or 5. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's 2-2 and then it still end up going 7 games. But I hope you're right. I hope you're right. But either way, it's been a great year. Yeah.
It has, man. This again, man. And there's another thing, man. People in the bubble they had to adjust to COVID-19. So you're seeing things that you would never see.
Yeah, never see it. That's a great point. We would never see before. Yeah, because you're right. It's made it more competitive.
Yes, it's more competitive. I mean, these guys ain't playing in front of nobody except for themselves now. Mm-hmm. You have no crowd. You have no crowd to feed off of. You can't really say a whole lot to the referees. They had rules going in, so it's just you. So now all you doing is you just in there. And it's like a pickup game with 3 referees.
That's it. And they going at it. I'll say this too before we get out of here. I totally agree with you about college basketball. I'm a UNC guy. My wife went to Maryland. I'm a UNC guy, and we got a great class coming in too. I'm throwing that in there. But I will say this: March Madness. the March Madness is the best time of the year. It's nothing like what I used to do, Nick. When I worked one particular job, people would laugh at me. I would take off that Thursday, and I would take off that Friday of March Madness. Hey, can I get a high five? Hey, bro, I took on that Thursday and that Friday. And I said, hey, I got to watch the game. And people like, you can watch out. No, I got to watch the games. I ain't watching no highlights. I got to watch every game, and I loved it. So I hope that comes back next year.
Man, I would take off 12 o'clock on both days, at Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
And I would always, and this is what I would say. I say, listen, I said, I ain't gonna really get home for the beginning. I want to see the second half home. That's when the drama starts. That's when the drama starts.
Yeah.
Second half on is when the drama starts. So
it's on.
I hope they bring that March Madness back because I missed it this past year.
Me too. Man, it hurt me this past year.
I'm gonna throw it on my bucket list. It's my plan. Before I leave this earth, if the Lord grant me the favor in my life, I want to go to a Final Four. That's my.
I believe it. That's one of mine too. My wife keeps saying, "Don't you want to go to one of the tournament games, like when they're in DC it is?" But that Final Four, you're right, that would be awesome.
So all of you who are watching, if you want to bless Nick Purnell with Final Four tickets,
there you go. Hey, tell me what your cash app is.
Got my cash app, $Purnell 10. If you feel like you want to bless your boy, if I bless you, let's do this. Let's do this. If I bless you on this podcast tonight.
I love it.
If I bless you on this podcast. If there's a way you can help send your boy to the Final Four, I'll be greatly appreciated.
Yes, sir. Gotta make that happen, man.
Hey, Lance, can I go here with it? I need the first 20 people to give me $100.
Go ahead. Oh, you know that's what they say. Hey, you know that's what they do. First 20. $100 law, baby. $100 law.
Hey, Lance, here it is. I know you're on this line. I need the first 20 people to give me $100.
Oh, man. Woo, yes, sir. Oh, man, this has been great, Nick. Oh, this has been great, man. I tell you, man.
Oh, my God.
This has been great, man. Again, I tell you, man, I can't thank you enough, man, for just, like you said, for coming on. Like I said, I know we haven't even sat down, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna make sure after all this we had to sit down, have some lunch, some brunch, or a cup of coffee,
man,
and we'll do that. Yeah, we're gonna do that, man. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that, man. I really appreciate you coming on here, man. Is there anything else you want to say to the people or anything before we get off of here, man?
And listen, man. I just want to encourage you, whoever's on this line. There's a saying that you hear us Christians say all the time: trouble don't last always.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it seems like we're in trouble now. I know it seems like we don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. But just know that to first be grateful for where you are. Be grateful for another. Just don't take stuff for granted. Be grateful for what you have, because it could be a whole lot worse.
Whole lot worse.
You know, love on your family. You never know what could happen from one day to the next. In this pandemic, some things have been happening that's been unexpected. But you know, just hold on. Help is on the way.
Yep.
And if I could just leave y'all with anything, just know that your trouble, it will not last. It's not designed to last always. Understand that every storm has two things in common. There's a beginning and there's an end. It's what you do in the middle is going to determine how you come out of it.
Man, I like that.
So I just encourage y'all, you know, hold on. This storm ain't gonna last. I know it's been 7 months, but I believe that something good is about to happen sooner or later. It's got to work in our favor.
That's right.
It's got to work in our favor. So I hope that, you know, that right there, you know, will help somebody. You know, I know we've been talking sports. I know we've been reminiscing, but understand, man, this COVID-19 thing is real. We don't want to leave. This thing is real. You know, do what they call for, man. Wash your hands and put your mask on. And I know it means
6 feet, all that.
You know, it may seem silly, but if you got to stay 6 feet from somebody, here it is. Take this choice. And Lance, we'll close on this. I want you to think about something. Would you rather be 6 feet away from somebody or 6 feet under somebody? You take the choice. Yep. So
and Nick, just like when I'm emceeing and worship leader and it's a good word, I can't come behind that. Hey, I better not come behind that, because I'll mess that whole thing up. But what I'm gonna say to you, hey bro, what I'm gonna say to you, man, again, man, I really appreciate you, man, from the bottom of my heart, man. I appreciate you coming on, man. It was an awesome episode. I'm gonna go ahead and share it when I get it on YouTube. I'll make sure I tag you in that. But man, thanks again, man. Good. You be safe. Send my love to your family, and we'll talk soon, bro. We'll talk soon. Royal Sports Fan Podcast. We out of here. All right, bro. Peace, man.
Peace, man. All right.